How are we doing, gamers? It's BB, you're watching my RSL channel, and today we are beating the clan boss once again. Every day, you should be raiding clan boss. These rewards are way too good to resist, man. And also, that's kind of the content that you want to be focusing on in the first couple of weeks during your raid journey, adventure, call it whatever you want. Today, we're going to be talking about some free-to-play epic champions that serve wonders as your supports, as your buffers, debuffers, multi-purpose champions that you can take up on your clan boss team. Let's get right into it. And before we get into the real deal, let me again clarify what we're gonna be discussing today. No void champions. Only epic free-to-play champions will make this list, and any other champion but a nuker. We've already talked about nukers way too many times. There's way too many good nukers in this game. But there are few champions that are truly good as debuffers and will truly help you out. To withstand the harsh damage that the Demon Lord will deal to you, the more boss turn counts you survive. With survivability comes great responsibility, guys, so let's waste no more time. And maybe it's worth mentioning that a good nuker would make someone who deals max HP sort of damage, someone who has HP burn, poison stacks, as you know. Poison is really good to bring into clan boss. That's why Kale is a really good starter champion. But that's as far as we'll go to talk about nukers today, just in case you haven't watched any of my clan boss videos prior to this one. Now, what do we need to know about debuffers? The kind of debuffers that you need on your clan boss team are certainly decrease attack debuffers. Decrease defense is quite good. You need someone with weaken, turn meter manipulators, and you need a buffer to cleanse you from debuffs, because the clan boss will land some nasty stuns, man, and some nasty debuffs you don't want. You want a champion that can clear these debuffs off of you. Someone who can revive you, heal you, protect you, shield you. Someone who will mitigate some of that damage that you're gonna start experiencing. And as you can see, it starts getting lethal around turn count 25. 20, I'd say, is about the place where things get scary. As you can see, the two champions that currently are equipped in lifesteal gear and the one champion that comes with block damage are the only ones that survive post 25. And not even. Helicast is currently the only one standing, and he is our block damage champion, and he is crazy good at it. There goes our last champ. This was Demon Lord Hard, 10.94 damage. Keeping all of this in mind, let's discuss all of the epic free-to-play champions that will fit any of these roles as a buffer, debuffer, support on your clan boss team. First up, we got Aox the Rememberer. Aox brings a poison on his A1, which is great because he can just spam that poison. It's a double hitter. When you book out that skill, you get a 30% chance of placing it. Poison, as you know, is great in clan boss. So we got immediate utility on his A1. On his A2, he has a healing ability. He heals all allies by 10% of their max HP and heals each ally by an extra 2.5% for each debuff on the target. You can take that down to a 3-turn cooldown, and you can bring that up to a 20% heal of their max HP. And the more debuffs you manage to cast on the Demon Lord, the more extra heals you can gain out of that skill. Quite a nice one, I gotta say. Good job, you look like a frog. Now on his A3, we've got a strong decrease attack and a 30% decrease crit rate debuff. If you book that skill out, he also has a 100% chance of decreasing each enemy's turn meter by 20%. Because the clan boss is 1, that 20% is just gonna land on him, but it's great. Aox brings a poison, which is an extra utility. He brings one important debuff, which is decreased attack, and another bonus really good debuff. Decreased crit rate is great into clan boss because clan boss's crit rate can end you. And he brings a heal, and the passive increases the duration of 2 random debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn when attacked occurs once per hit. Aox has it all. He has everything in his kit. We love Aox. And another lizardman that we absolutely have to mention is Venomage. I know we've talked about Venomage as a nuker, but we also have to talk about him as a debuffer. Even though we have a somewhat useless heal reduction here, we have a 100% chance once fully booked out of placing 2 5% poison debuffs for 2 turns, which is lovely utility. We do have a damage vegetation here. Enemies under heal reduction debuffs inflict 15% less damage, which is just a good note to keep in mind about Venomage. But here's the skill that I want to dote on and pay attention to. He has a 100% chance of placing a strong decrease defense for 2 turns, and a strong decrease attack debuff for 2 turns if the target is under a poison debuff, which in your case, you absolutely want the Demon Lord to be under a poison debuff for as long as you can keep him under a poison debuff. You want KOs on your team, you want a frozen bench, you want good poisoners, and you're definitely gonna get a lot of good poisoners. So this is just a really nice synergy. Strong decrease defense and attack is crazy. On a 3-turn cooldown once fully booked, great skill. We have a poisoner and the buffer slash debuffer, just a great utility there on Venom Mage. I would definitely consider him, her. I'm never sure what to think of Venom Mage. What gender is this creature? Maybe it doesn't matter, but they're quite helpful in Demon Clan. Consider them on your team. Now, I don't think this list would be complete without talking about Toragi the Frog. Toragi the Frog is such a crazy clan boss champion, let me tell you why. First off, note the HP. Toragi is an HP champion. Toragi has some of the most valuable buffs and debuffs to take up to clan boss. First thing first, he places a strong decrease attack for 2 turns on a 40% chance once fully booked out. A provoke, which starts at 50% chance, and then the chance increases by 5% for each debuff on the enemy team. On the A3, Toragi places a shield buff equal to 50% of their HP, their max HP, and a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except themselves for 2 turns. Also heals this champion by 25% of their max HP and places a 30% reflect damage buff on them for 3 turns. The heal increases by 2.5 for each poison debuff on the enemy team. You're gonna have a shield that if you stack Toragi's HP high enough, might even be a bigger shield than some champions' HP, right? Ally protection is great. Ally protection and reflect damage are just gonna shoot right back at the clan boss. Whatever damage the Demon Lord is trying to put out, immediately reflected back. And on the passive, we have a 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on the attacker for 2 turns, occurs once per hit, or increases ally resistance in all battles by 40%, which is great. Provoke is useless against clan boss, but is quite important in wave controlling. So, you know, content like faction wars, Spider, and such. Great champion to pull generally. Also, I'd be mortified if I saw Toragi the Frog running across me. Danger. And these clanking in the distance, can you hear it? Can you close your eyes and try and imagine the picture? I wish I could edit that out for you guys. My skill set apprehends me. And I know that we've talked about the next champion a lot too, but come on, we gotta talk about Fane for multiple reasons. We're gonna gloss over her very quickly because I'm sure that if you've watched many of my videos, you're tired about me speaking about her over and over and over and over. I swear I don't have a crush on Fane. That's not what's happening. She's a mouse, you freaks. But she's also damn helpful. She has a double hitter and she steals 5% of the target's current turn meter on every hit, which is very helpful. Here she places 2 poison debuffs and a 50% decrease, a strong decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. Once fully booked out, that's a 100% chance. I really want to talk about her strong decrease defense debuff that lasts for 3 turns, and that is on a triple hitter. While the first hit brings that strong decrease defense, the second hit places a weaken, 25% weaken for 3 turns, which is also very important debuff to bring into clan boss team. And the third heals this champion by 4% of her max HP for every debuff on the target. That stacks, right? Now, I've put my Fane in a lifesteal set. That equals to so much healing. You saw in the beginning how much sustainability Fane has now. While in the beginning I was worried that she was squishy, now she's one of my longest lasting champions. So you're gonna go through that Fane transformation as well once you have her, and I promise you that the lack of a passive is no biggie. Moreover, if you start a brand new account with my promo link, you're gonna get your hands on your very own Fane for free. But that is not the coolest thing. If you click on my promo link, you set up a brand new account with Plarium Play, download Raid, and then log in. With your brand new account, you're going to find some better rewards in your inbox. Namely, you're going to actually start the game with the legendary champion Karado Fox Hunter completely for free, you guys, just for setting up an account with my promo link. Karado Fox Hunter is your legendary starter champion, and then At level 40, you have to level up in progress and grind in your game, otherwise you won't unlock the next ones. At level 40, you get Fane, at level 45, you get Romero, and at level 50, you get Vergus. What a better time to start a second or third or fourth account, or if you're a brand new player, today is your lucky day, man. Today is the day you get to start playing Raid Shadow Legends, and you shouldn't miss out on that deal. I don't know what it was. It was every link in Raid Shadow Legends suddenly stopped working. It wasn't just Game Leap. It was basically almost every content creator's promo links just suddenly stopped working. It was a link apocalypse, man. What the hell even? Right? But let's not talk about that. Let's continue talking about champions. Moving on to this absolute abomination from the undead horde. Seeker is a creature that came out of your nightmares. Seeker is something that will appear to you in a sleep paralysis episode. I'm having a hard time looking at Seeker, but honestly, considering how atrocious Seeker is, and if you can account that for level of power, Seeker is as useful as he is mortifying. This provoke on his A1 is useless in clan boss, but quite helpful for wave controlling. So helpful everywhere else. It is a double hitter though. So that double hitter, you see how much damage you can stack on it. It has 8 levels of booking. It can smack hard. On the A2, he fills the turn meter of all allies by 30% and places a strong increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns and grants an extra turn. You can book that out to a 3-turn cooldown, and you should spam this as much as you can. This is a great turn manipulator, great turn filler for your champions, and great buff on all of your allies for quite some time. On his passive, he heals. He heals himself by 20% HP and places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns when hit with a critical hit, which happens a lot in clan boss, right? This increased defense is great even though it is conditional, and the heal on himself makes him a very, very tanky defense champion. You can unlock some masteries that are gonna mitigate some of that damage to go into Seeker. I've seen a lot of people use him for quite some time in their clan boss teams, though I don't have myself one of these. I've seen his utility, and he's also smacked me out in arena. Seeker can be great in the combination with the right champions. Moving on to the Knights Revenants. Why do the Knights Revenants have so many epic champions? Can someone explain this to me? Today we're talking about Sepulture Sentinel. Homegirl Sepulture Sentinel brings a strong decrease attack debuff on a 50% chance once fully booked out, which is lovely. On her A2, she places a strong increased defense buff and block debuffs buff on all allies for 2 turns. That block debuffs is immediately going to get rid of your stun worries for a while, for 2 turns. Take that down to a 4-turn cooldown to become a little bit more manageable, because in the beginning, these 5 turns is gonna take a long time. You want to book her out, right? On her passive, once fully booked out, she has a 50% chance of completely blocking incoming damage when an ally is attacked. Occurs once per turn, will only block damage for the targeted ally if multiple allies are attacked at the same time, so only during AoEs. With the right masteries, you can make Sepulture Sentinel such a strong defense for your team. She also brings an increased ally defense in all battles by 25% aura, which is quite nice for an epic champion. That's awesome. Stupid fly. Stupid fly. I caught it and I let it go. What can I say? I will suffer the consequences of being a merciful god. Moving on. And while doing a little bit of research and going through my own champions and what I have, I remembered Anchorite. Anchorite can be a very underrated buff extender. Let me elaborate. On his A1, he has an AoE that heals the ally with the lowest HP by 10% of the damage inflicted. Quite interesting, right? That heal rises up to 25% once fully booked out. On his A2, he removes 1 random debuff from all allies and then increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. On a 3-turn cooldown once fully booked. That's exactly what I wanted to get to. If you book out that A2, this happens a lot. He will spam it every 3 turns. It's lovely stuff. And very interesting A3, where he fully heals a target ally and then places a 30% increased crit rate buff and 30% increased crit damage buff on all allies for 2 turns. And you can take that down to a 4-turn cooldown. Anchorite Once I came across him, I'd completely forgotten about this dude. I use him in some faction wars. Every once in a while, he comes in with this awesome debuff cleanse, and I can never remember who it actually is. And yeah, it was Anchorite all along. This guy can be a very underrated budget support champion for your clan boss team, as long as you make him survivable and durable. And we gotta talk about Morag Bronzelock, man. I got mine some time ago. She's quite useful, and I'll tell you a little gimmick about Morag. She has a double hitter on her A1 that ignores shield buffs, which you don't really care about that ignore shield buffs, but that makes her quite useful in any other place of the game. On her A2, she has an AoE, and then she places a 25% strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown once fully booked. Really good stuff. Strengthen reduces the value of the damage that you take by like 10 or 50. I'm not sure by how many, but it reduces the damage that you take. On her A3, she teams up with 2 random allies to attack a single enemy. The allies always use their default skills when attacking. During the skill, grants an extra turn if an enemy is killed, which won't happen during clan boss. However, you have a joint attack on a 4-turn cooldown when you book that out completely, and it's gonna take you only 2 books to do this. And on her passive, she counterattacks whenever hit while under a strengthened buff placed by this champion. Counterattack is a wonderful buff to have on your champion. She can smack quite hard. Do you see what she's wielding? And you get her as a part of the player and points program at 1,250. You will unlock her. You get Plarium points by logging in every day through the browser. If you play on mobile, you'll get 3 of these every day. If you play on browser, you'll get an additional 6 throughout your day. Moreover, here you can see that on every purchase, you also win. God, what is happening today? I'm getting sick. I don't want to get sick. Not today, not now. It's always before the holidays. Don't worry about Morag Bronzelock, you're gonna get her at some point. And if you're still watching this, here's a little pro tip. Come a little closer. Get your Morag Bronzelock during a clan versus clan and then thank me later. No biggie. You're just gonna get a lot of points for that. Hold off until you get a clan versus clan before you pick her up. And I do want to give a shout out to a particular Void champion that I cannot really talk about today because we're only discussing free-to-play champions. However, Maneater deserves a shout out. Maneater deserves a shout out purely because he's a staple in a budget unkillable clan boss team. He places an unkillable and block debuffs buff on all allies for 2 turns on a 5-turn cooldown once fully booked out. Just saying. Isn't that crazy for an epic champion? He is a Void though, so he's gonna make another list, I'm sure. And that concludes it, you guys. With the right champions on your roster, you ain't got nothing to worry about, and you can focus on getting these good chests and getting to the bottom of the rewards, because the lower you go and the better chests you get, the better goodies you're gonna get. At Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare, you start getting these sacred shards, man, and I'm pumped. I'm pumped that I'm already starting to put in most of my keys in Brutal. It feels like I'm almost there to finish line, you know? And I feel like this should be the main focus of any new account just starting out Raid Shadow Legends. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys, that you got an idea of what kind of champions to look out for, how to work around the Demon Clan boss. Even if you don't get any of these champions, you still get a lot of these buffs and debuffs on in a lot of versions, so you can try out different combinations of these debuffs that we just talked about today. As always, feel free to shoot down your very own favorite free-to-play epic champions that you use on your clan boss team or have helped you out progress in your clan boss team. Give it up for the more experienced players of Raid that are here to teach us the newbies how to play this game and how to kill it. It was lovely hanging out with you guys. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!